Right. Hey, everyone. Just getting everything set up here. Good morning. It's Sunday morning. Wow, I haven't spoken yet today, so I'm a little froggy. And you know what? I forgot my coffee in the other room. So, good morning, everybody. Sit tight for 30 seconds. I'm going to run in the other room and grab my coffee. Hang on. Stand by. All right. I'm back. Let me clear a couple of things out here. There we go. How you all doing this morning? Now, usually when I step out on a Sunday morning like that, or right about this time, my kids grab me and need something. Dad, get me some milk. Dad, get me some cereal. Dad, I'm starving. Feed me. But none of them are downstairs today, so I lucked out. So how's everybody doing this morning? Hey, Audrey, I just saw you saying hi. Barry Chad, good to see you. Teresa, nice to see you, my lovely. Leslie Hoker, good to see you. And once again, I want to say, Leslie, thank you for your support of this show. It's a wonderful thing to see. I appreciate that. Leslie, I got to say, adds a little something into my PayPal account every week. And, that's, she's not keeping the roof over my head or paying my mortgage or anything like that. But you know what she does? She's throwing in a bit that helps with all the little stuff. And I appreciate that. That's kind of my little slush fund. And I appreciate that, Leslie, very much that you would support the show that way. I don't like to stick out my hand like an offering plate or anything like that. But if you want to contribute to the research I do, there's ways to do it. You can go out to my main page here on my YouTube. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my camera because it's out of alignment. But from all the stuff we do in here all week long. So there you go. I appreciate it. Audrey just put the link in. That's totally up to you, folks. I appreciate that. I love doing this show. And I love putting out information. I love all you friends out there. So I'm just happy you're here. And I appreciate that. Sunday morning, I've been up for a few hours. And of course, it comes right down to the wire for me every Sunday. It's like, oh my God, I got to be on in 3 minutes. So I'm rushing around, grabbing my coffee, trying to get ready and all of that. Jessica, good to see you. Patch, good to see you, brother. I know you're working your butt off these days, and I appreciate you coming in. It's nice to see you. And Susie Q, nice to see you. Glad that you're here. And we've got some moderators in this group. Susie is one of them, and also Audrey. And do I have anybody else who's appointed a moderator at this point? So if you have any big questions about anything and you don't seem to be getting my attention over in the chat room, just ask Susie or Audrey. I was making sure I'm missing a light here. I got a light that's not on. Hang on a second. Let me stand up and get that. All right. Oh, boom. One light. Oh. One light that was missing is now on. There we go. Let's illuminate our background a bit. Leslie, I'm glad to see you're still standing. That's good news. And let's see. I just want to say, get some highs in there. Sean, good to see you this morning. Matt Finn, good to see you, brother. Vicky, nice to see you as well. VJB. And Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. And all kinds of things. If I missed you, I didn't miss you intentionally. But I do have my coffee. So I'm going to have a nice swig of coffee. Coffee, the great leveler, the great elucidator. Gets my mind clear. So, all right. This morning, how is everybody for a Sunday morning? It's been an interesting week. You want to say coronavirus is not politics, but it is, and it isn't. But it's out there. I think we go a little bit overboard on it. I get so tired of hearing about it. Not because we don't need to hear certain things and take certain precautions, but because it's pervasive. It's everywhere. It's become the ubiquitous post on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. That's all you see anymore is stuff about coronavirus and how to avoid it and jokes about coronavirus. I got to tell you, if you can't joke about coronavirus, isn't that the way we humans tend to deal with things? We turn it to humor. Sometimes, people say too soon, after an event. But that's the way we deal with stuff. So it's good to see good humor out there about it. I'm doing the best to take my precautions. I have already been warned that I'm in that high risk category. Now, I'm certainly not elderly. I'm 59 years old. I'm not 80. And, I've got things people say you got risks because I got a few, what do you call them? Medical or health issues that I deal with that are going to be there the rest of my life. I've got diabetes. I guess I've got heart disease because I had a heart attack and they had to cut me open and do all the stuff on my heart. And so I've got that going for me. My hips, that's not really a health disorder. That's just age and misuse of my body for years. So I don't feel as though I am high risk, but I guess I am. And look, I got people coming in to visit me this morning. Hey, little girls. Say hi to everybody.
Can you tell Mom to wake up and come downstairs?
No, I can't. I'm on the radio and I'm live.
But we don't get a
Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
Say hi.
Bubbles.
This is Bubbles.
Bubbles.
Show everybody your tooth. See? Now, she knocked out a tooth, this little one, because she's a little acrobat. She knocked out a tooth a couple of years ago, prematurely. She's only 5. And they said the new one would grow in its place. But if you look here, she did a facer on the kitchen slate floor and almost knocked out the other one. I think the dentist is going to want to take it out. But she's got this swelled up. She's all swelled up right here from nailing the floor with her tooth and her gum.
Why?
Because it's bad for it. And so this is Rowan. This is Ellery. She's got her beautiful hairstyle going this morning. I love your hair, baby. Have it, she has it all bunched up. And she has a nice big high ponytail. That's always nice. Right now, it's all over the place. You got hair like your mom. Did you know that? Big, thick hair. All right, guys, I'm going to do my radio show, so I'm going to send you on your way.
Someone said, hey, Rowan.
Hey, Rowan, said somebody. That was Audrey.
Who's Audrey?
She was here at Halloween time. She came to Rocky's and my thing at the Renaissance Festival and all of that. So
Can she come here so I can see her?
Probably one of these days.
Yay.
So there you go. Thank you for revealing my bald spot. All right, bye, guys. Close the door behind you. Bubbles. It's the new greeting. So there you go. Everybody's up now, except Mom. There's not a concept of doing. This isn't a radio show on Sundays. We're not broadcasting out anywhere except here on the live stream. But they come in, they have no concept of the live radio show or radio shows when we record or radio show here on Sunday morning. This podcast, I guess you'd call it, live stream. It's just everybody should open the door, come on in and state what they're doing. Hey, Dad, where's the toilet paper? I was like, hey, I'm doing a live broadcast. And so, by the way, we're well stocked with toilet paper. We didn't stock up, but you know what happens when people hoard toilet paper for stupid reasons? You go and you have to get a couple of packs. You know why? 'Cause you want to make sure you have some when you need it.
Dad, can I have a pop?
A pop? Have you had any breakfast or anything at all? Pops are bad for breakfast. No. All right, guys, go do your thing. Yeah, go ahead. You can have a little one, okay? One of the little cans.
Okay.
Don't like to start that habit so young, but sometimes.
Mountain Dew, so we have to have a Mountain Dew.
Okay, gotcha. She just said something about you haven't mixed up any juice, so we've got to have Mountain Dew. Boom. There's the logic of it. So this morning, well, Mom will get up and take care of that. So there you go. Hey, KT Emma, nice to see you. How you doing? And let's see. Anybody else walk in here while all that frivolity was going on? So anyway, as I was saying, my children just walk in when I'm doing radio. I gotta lock that door when I do radio. Although when I'm doing live streams, I'm kind of okay with it. It's like, hey, this is just me. This is my kids. This is my family. This is what goes on here. So it's okay sometimes. As long as you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. So anyway, I was saying that I see all this stuff about coronavirus, all this stuff about everybody's got to make their political points. What a sap the president is. What a liar he is. What a this, what a that. And it's like, I don't really care. And other people defending it or just avoiding it and saying, I don't have time for that. Trump said something in his announcement the other day of the national security about how they're working closely with Google, and Google is putting up a new website for the coronavirus, and he was showing details of it. And then somebody came out and said, he's such a liar because he didn't say that. And there's articles all over from Wired to, the Washington Post or the New York Post or whatever, all saying Trump did not, Google denies putting up any major websites. Well, then you see another article out there that says, Google putting up major website for coronavirus, but it doesn't coincide with everything that Trump said about it. One other article that's not from a news source that's not there to daily try to find ways to delegitimize the president said something to the effect Trump oversells Google website on coronavirus, and so on and so forth. And you know what? I really don't give a rat's, let's be kind, bahookie. If Trump is out there and they've talked about all this stuff and he shows you a marker board that says, here's what we're working on, he's an overseller. Keep in mind, people who detract from Trump like to say that, well, he was a reality show star, become president, and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? He was a reality show star because he was somebody. He established himself as a real estate mogul. And so he is like one of his book titles, The Art of the Deal. He sells and he oversells, and he's a New Yorker. If you understand the way the man thinks, you understand that he has that ability to oversell. But he's generally working very hard to try to do what he's overselling. I get it. So I don't throw points against him because of that. So there you go. But let's see. Yes, Leslie says, and when he was, Hollywood, the media, and Washington elites loved the man. That's all I heard. I got tired of it before I even knew the man was running for president years ago. I got tired of hearing about Donald Trump. You know why? Because he was everywhere. Everybody loved Donald Trump. But then he came in to try to do something different in Washington. Everybody hates him because he's not establishment, because he won, blah, 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 blah. We don't even have to get into that. So all I am saying, the point I'm making, the whole coronavirus thing, I don't care if you like Donald Trump or hate Donald Trump. I think the president and his team are doing the best thing they can do. And then people say, see, he lied once he was against, said There's nothing big about Corona, and now he's declaring a national emergency. Well, you know what leadership does? Leadership adapts with the issue, with what's going on, with the events around us. When it first came out, he established himself of having the job as the president of the United States to try to reduce panic. We don't need panic. Let's be common sense. We've got our team in place. And you know what? The more that was revealed, the more that happened, and the more and so on, he evolved with that over the period of about a week to 2 weeks. You know what? That's what a leader does, even if you don't like his leadership style. And so we are where we are now, and nobody's sequestered, I think, unless you're under quarantine. But even here at the Roberts household, we just got news on Friday that they are now going to close all Wisconsin schools. And we're over in western Wisconsin, by the way, just across the river from Minnesota, which is the eastern stretches of the Minneapolis-St. Paul metro area. And so we're out here in the country, not far away, and from a major metro area. And so we're careful. My wife is a germaphobe. My wife watches all this stuff, and she is the one that keeps everybody in a line here. I probably would be lax in that. It's just not my nature to be, oh, okay, everybody wash your hands 20 times a day. It's just not in my nature to do that. I don't think of those things. Now, I'll take that back. As a parent, you think about things when you have little kids running around. My biggest fear, if you can call it a fear, it wasn't a worry, it wasn't an anxiety of mine, but my greatest fear has always been, even before coronavirus, all the sick and disease that my kids run into at school. You know, schools, you've heard it, it's become cliche. School, that petri dish of disease and pestilence. And so my kids get sick, not because we carry virus here in the house, but because they go to school and they pass it on to everybody at the house. So the whole washing hands things, blah, 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 that's all good. Yesterday, I had to take the little one to the emergency room. The dentist is going to work. They probably have to pull her other front tooth again prematurely, so she'll be missing her two front teeth until they both grow in. That's because she likes to do things like, Dad, watch me take a swan dive off this bar stool. It's like, no, don't do that. That's how she lost the first tooth. And so she's a little acrobat. But the dentist is going to pull that tooth. But because her face was all swelled up, her upper gum into just below her eye, they put her on penicillin or amoxicillin for kids to take down the infection and the swelling. Well, she wouldn't take her medicine, just flatly refused. And in either form, liquid or bubble gum flavored chewables, just wouldn't do it. It's the concept in the back of her mind. And so the dentist said, well, we can't do much here. Why don't you take her to the ER and see if they can give her a shot? Which is what I did yesterday. I took her into the ER. And our ER here, small town, there was one car outside, and there was nobody in there when I walked in as far as patients waiting. And one person came in behind us with something totally unrelated, related to pregnancy, as I overheard. And not that I was in their business, but I heard what she said when she came to the desk. And so it was clean, everything. And I'm sure all the hospitals and the ERs now, because of coronavirus, everybody's keeping everything clean. And so we were in there. And while we're in there, they gave Ellery a little shot and shot in the butt and the buttocks, to be more just above the buttocks, lower hip, butt, top of the butt. And, I posted something about this yesterday, and it was something that really annoyed me yesterday. And you all know me. You know what I'm like. You know what my personality is like. I tend to be as gentlemanly as I can, as often as I can. I let my hair down around my friends. I don't get into fights that often. as a almost 60-year-old man. And I wasn't a big scrapper or fighter, but I think I generally had the size that and the mentality that I could intimidate people with words, and that's how I kept out of a lot of physical fisticuffs. You know, if somebody's threatening you and you look at them and you say, "Go ahead, princess, throw the first punch and see where that gets you." That generally took care of my having to get into lots of fisticuffs. And I'm not talking about physical violence here from yesterday, but all that to say is that I'm no pushover. And I don't keep my mouth shut in case I offend somebody when they deserve to be offended. But yesterday, we had two nurses that came in to administer the shot to Ellery, the young nurse who was nice and talked to Ellery, when she first came in. And so tell me about what's going on, little girl, kind of thing. She had a great attitude. But when they came in to give the shot, suddenly an older nurse appears with her, and she looked to be mid to late 50s, maybe about my age. She had the straight, kind of brownish gray hair. And I'm only giving this by way of description because you've seen the kind of person I'm talking about. And she was a little more stern. And she came in and she's kind of like, okay, let's get this done. And she wanted Ellery. They pulled the big chair she was sitting in, pulls out and it reclines into a table. And she wanted Ellery to flip over on her stomach so they could get at the butt. And they pulled her pants down just below the butt cheek. And they said, okay, we're going to give this shot. And so I'm sitting in the other chair across, a few feet away from the table. And I looked at Ellery and I said, hey, sweetie, you want Daddy to come over there and stand by you, hold your hand? And, she said yes. And the old nurse, stern nurse Ratchet, we'll call her, if you know that the reference is. So Nurse Ratchet says, no, you can stay there. We got this. We'll hold her down. And I'm like, she doesn't need to be held down. You're talking in front of my child. We'll hold you down. When you're 5 years old and somebody's going to give you a shot and you're already a little nervous about it, and you hear the nurse say to your parent, you stay there, we'll hold her down. What do you think that did for Ellery? So I was a little pissed about that, but I didn't get mad at the nurse. I'm not going to make a scene. I'm just going to do what I know is right. And so when the nurse told me, no, you can stay there, stay seated, we'll take care, we'll hold her down, I said, she doesn't need to be held down. And I stood up and I walked over by Ellery and I said, you want Daddy to hold your hand? And she's leaning on her elbows, with her butt up in the air behind her. And so she's got her hands free and she puts both her hands out. She says, yeah. And so I held both her hands. And then they're getting ready to give the shot. And the old nurse takes Ellery's head and starts to push it down. And she said, you need to just lay your head down on the table. And it's like, I wanted to say to Nurse Ratchet, dude, her butt's already in the air. It's naked. You can stick a needle in that. What do you need her to lay her face down for? Well, she wanted her to lay her face down so she didn't look back and get scared. And I said, she knows you're poking a needle in her ass. I said, so she's just fine with Daddy holding her hands. And she actually put her hand on Ellery's head to try to push her face down to the table. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. I got this. I got this part. I'm Dad. I'm here. I'm not an ignoramus. I'm not detached from my children. I know what this takes. I've done this with 5 other children in the past. So you know what? I got this. I don't care how many kicking, screaming, stupid little children you have that are flailing and frenetic in their energy and all scared about getting a shot and screaming and crying. My child doesn't do that. I know my child. I'll take care of this part of this. You just put the shot in. And so I told Ellery, I said, okay, here they go. I said, they're going to stick it in. You ready? She wanted to look back. I said, you don't have to. I said, if you want to look, you can. You don't have to. She looked at me and held my hands. And I said, here it comes. And the nurse goes, here we go. Boink. And Ellery kind of looks at me. She goes, ow. And I said, see, that's all it is. I said, now, Dad. I said, Dad has to take shots every day because I'm diabetic. And I said, so You've seen how easy it is for me. It's just bink, ship, and it's done. And so I said, there, now it's done. It took all of 2 seconds. It was a little harder because it was a bigger needle because the liquid inside the antibiotic was thicker. And so they needed a wider needle, broader needle. And so it probably hurt a little bit. But I said, Ellery, see, boom, it's done. I said, now you don't have to worry about chewing pills or drinking the stuff you don't like for the next 10 days. I said, it's done. You're over. You're done. And then old Nurse Ratchet said, well, done until she needs it again. I'm just like, will you shut up? And I didn't say that. I just looked over and I said, Ellery, you're done. And it is. She doesn't have to have anything else to get the tooth work done. They just needed to get enough going in her bloodstream. So Nurse Ratchet immediately turned on her heel and left the room. And the young nurse was nice and stuck around and said, there you go. Let's put a little Band-Aid on it and blah, 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 blah. And so, and then, of course, walking out to the car, Ellery was walking very slowly and limping. She goes, oh, Dad, that really hurts. I don't know if I can walk. I said, the best thing you can do, sweetie? I said, take Dad's hand. Let's just walk. The more you walk, it'll wear off. And, it's going to hurt a little bit. And by the time we got home, like 4 minutes later, because we're only like a mile from the hospital, I said, who wants to check the mailbox? And Ellery, man, jumps up and running and laughing and running as fast as she can to the mailbox, runs into the house, forgets that she just got a shot in the tush. So all is well. All that to say, there's no coronavirus spreading around our house, so far as we know. And I had everybody at the hospital when the shot was done. We used the hospital hand sanitizer. Then we got home. Everybody wash your hands. And, so we're good. Leave your shoes at the door, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there you go, folks. I want to read you a little something. I posted this yesterday on my Facebook, and some of you may have seen it. I think some of you have. And a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, put this up yesterday. And I thought it was very poignant. And it's a little thing that he read. And he says, read this. These are very calming words. And it says this. Now think about this with all this crisis going on. Crisis. How much of it is manufactured? How much of it is real? Take precautions, but don't get overly concerned. The only thing that concerns me is other people. So this thing says, in one way, we think a great deal too much of the atomic bomb. How are we going to live in an atomic age? Now, this was written a while back. I'm tempted to reply, why, as you would have lived in the 16th century when the plague visited London almost every year, or as you would have lived in a Viking age when raiders from Scandinavia might land and cut your throat any night, or indeed as you're already living in an age of cancer, an age of syphilis, an age of paralysis, an age of air raids, an age of railway accidents, an age of motor accidents. In other words, don't let us begin by exaggerating the novelty of our situation. Believe me, dear sir or madam, you and all whom you love were already sentenced to death before the atomic bomb was invented, and quite a high percentage of us were going to die in unpleasant ways. We had indeed one very great advantage over our ancestors, anesthetics, but we have that still. So it's perfectly ridiculous to go about whimpering and drawing long faces because the scientists have added one more chance of painful and premature death to a world which already bristled with such chances, and in which death itself was not a chance at all, but a certainty. This is the first point to be made, and the first action to be taken is to pull ourselves together. If we're all going to be destroyed by an atomic bomb, let that bomb, when it comes, find us doing sensible and human things. Praying, working, teaching, reading, listening to music, bathing the children, playing tennis, chatting to our friends over a pint and a game of darts. not huddled together like frightened sheep and thinking about bombs. They may break our bodies, a microbe can do that, but they need not dominate our minds. And that's from an essay on living in an atomic age. Um, and it was written in 1948, by the way. It was called Present Concerns Journalistic Essays. And I don't have the name of the author there. So you listen to that. What are you about doing with all the mayhem and the weirdness and the precautions and the people walking around with veritable sandwich boards declaring the end of the world is near, ringing the bell, bring out your dead, and so on? What do you do during that? You do what you always do. You're careful. You take precautions, but you do what you always do. Now, I say that. What if I ended up with the coronavirus? Would I eat my words? No, I wouldn't. I'd just say, oh, looks like I got it. And now I got to take extra precautions. If you're going to get it, you're going to get it. If it's destined or fate that you go out that way, then that'll happen too. I could walk outside and get hit by a bus. Well, not in my small town. I'd have to be in the city for that. I could go get hit by a garbage truck if I'm not careful, if I'm stupid. So I take precautions to not get hit by a garbage truck. I don't go running in the street when the garbage truck is barreling down the road. So don't go running in the street when the garbage truck is coming. Wash your hands, blah, blah, blah. You don't need me to say that. But I'm up to here with all the coronavirus talk. This too, folks, shall pass. And if we're going to die from disease and pestilence, then we're going to die from disease and pestilence. I would rather not go out that way, but there it is. So I don't know. I don't want to die by fire. I don't want to die by drowning. I don't want to die by rotting away from some disease or cancerous tumor in my body. I'd rather go out, in a good fight. Gonna go peck a fight. I want to die by sword thrust? No. I'd rather die that way than die drowning. But, it's like, and I think I mentioned this once before, when I had my heart attack and they cut me open, I had my heart surgery. My good dear friend, John Ward, he's my British archaeologist friend, closest friend in the world. And he wrote me a short email because he was over in Egypt at the time. And he says, brother, he says, we men don't die in hospital beds. He says, we die in great adventure and exploration. So I fully expect you to recover and we'll go out adventuring again. And I don't remember exactly everything he said, but there it is. And so if you are overwhelmed with coronavirus talk and all that crap, move on, move away from it. And just take your precautions. And you know what? That's about all I got this morning. Let's do some card readings. Where are my cards? Here we go. I'm going to take a swig of coffee. And swig o coffee. I got my notepad here. I'm going to take a couple of names down. Let's just start this way rather than try to get 10 people in here. I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll see where we're at after that. And we'll go from there. So anybody here, if you would like a tarot reading this morning, we'll do a 3-card reading. Just put your name up there, and I'll come back. Give me 1 minute. I gotta pee. How about that? How's that for sincerity and transparency? So you guys sit tight right there. I'm not turning anything off. Just put in a nice, I would like a reading, and I'll come back and we'll take care of that in a minute. All right, I'll be right back. And I'm back. Whew. Hey, Lily. Gary Baxter, good to see you. Gary, I saw your name first, so Gary's first. Who else we got? Let's see. Alrighty, folks, step on up. Who wants a reading? Asks Audrey. Let's see. So we got Gary. Anybody else? On the list. That must be Sue Giles. Sue, I'm going to get you second because I saw you second. Sue Giles is number 2. And let's see, who else we got? Karen. Karen would like one. Matt said he saw Karen, and Sue said that they want one. So Karen, you'll be number 3. All right. And so everybody hold off. I'm not going to look closely at the chat room as we do this, but we'll go with Gary, Sue, and Karen in that order. So Gary, you're front and center. Now, as you all know, I do full tarot readings. If you would like to come over and get a full reading, you can. A full reading is a 10-card reading. I do 5-card readings for $45. I do 10-card readings for $85. And they take respectively about half hour to 45 minutes for the 5-card reading and about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes to do a 10-card reading. And what that gives you a little more insight, a little more detail. What I'm doing here this morning, you're going to get, whoops, hold on. I just loosened the bolt on my microphone stand. There we go. So turning it out of the way. So I want to turn this so it's not right in my face. All right, you can still hear me all right, I think. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do 3-card readings this morning, which is a really basic past, present, and future. And it's real basic. It gives you an idea. It doesn't give you lots and lots of detail, but it does give you cards that will help you answer perhaps a current situation or so on. I like not knowing what people want to know about because I like the cards to just tell us what it is you're thinking or what you need to know. Many times I would find, and I used to say this a lot when I do readings for people in person, is I'd say, they'd say, well, that's not the question I asked at all, but it was on the mark. Well, that's the thing. Many times you might have a question in mind, but what's being revealed to you is what you need to know. It's like they're saying, that's a great question, but here's what we got for you. Something very different. And who's they? Who is it? It's a source, originator, creator, God, angels, spirit guides, spirit, whatever it is that delivers the message. That's it. So here we go. Gary, I'm going to shuffle the cards for you, and we'll go from there, all right? So here we go. This one's for Gary. We'll shuffle up 3 times. Now, I don't think the cards have anything to do with Satanism or the occult or trafficking in evil spirits or anything like that. I think this is stuff that, if you will, to put it in simple terms that some people can understand, it's God, it's your angels, it's so on, it's whoever. Whoever is governing the shuffling of the deck of cards has the ability to arrange it the way they need to give you a message. So I'm not overly worried about anything negative and dark here. We're not trafficking in dark energy. So, all right, Gary, I've shuffled for you. If you were here, I would have you cut the deck, which I'm going to do on your behalf. And let's just put it all back together. And here we go. You ready, Gary? I'm going to show you the 3 cards, and then we'll go back and read them. Okay, your first card. This is the card of your current circumstances. And the card I have is the Judgment card. All right? I like to call it the Resurrection card. And we'll get to why I call it that. That's your current. Your recent past is the Eight of Coins. And coins is the suit of course, material things, your material well-being. It can mean finances. It might have to just do with the material nuts and bolts of life. And your outcome is the Ten of Cups. All right? Ten of Cups. Look at that happy card. And that's exactly what it is. It's a very happy card. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take a look at your first card. This is the Judgment card. It's the card of, and I like to call it Resurrection card because it shows the resurrected Christ on some of the old cards. Somebody coming out of, in the background here, you see there's a tomb, and there's usually somebody rising up out of the tomb. So your current situation, this is where you are right at this moment, Gary. And this card can represent big things in life. It can represent an isolated incident in your life. But the Judgment tells you today, where you sit right now at this moment, it's a story of transitioning, meaning it's not one of those dire cards of the end of a chapter or something like that. It's not the sudden change or intuition or things like that, but change that springs up from reason. It's judgment. Good Hear people tell you use good judgment. It signifies plans that are often long in the making, and it's all coming to fruition. It's something for you in your current. It's on your lap right now. You're going to recognize and know what this is. Transition. It's transition out of reason. Something that you've worked toward, you put time into, you've invested yourself, coming to fruition. If it's pointing to something that's coming in the future, it might speak toward the nature of the change. If there's a choice that needs to be made on your part, this is going to have you ruminating and let your mind guide your decisions, your good reason, your good judgment guiding your decisions. Logic, in this case, is a better guide than your intuition and your gut feeling. This is not a card that says, go with your gut feeling. There's some great things going on. Use your intuition. This is one that says, stop. Use your logic and your reason. Be prepared to make a major decision in your life, likely one that's going to shape the next chapter of your life. And so your past is full of good work, is what this card is telling me. But the process of your liberation from those experiences is ongoing. You're beginning a new chapter, so to speak. You're not eradicating the old, you're just transitioning to something new. The present has arrived, the past is relinquishing its hold on your fate. This is the best time to change an element of your lifestyle. Now, this is where this comes in. What is it? What's being affected? The Judgment card isn't financial, it isn't emotional, it isn't romantic, it isn't relational. It could be all of those things or any one of those things, but it's nothing in particular. It's a card out of the major arcana, which is messages from God, so to speak. Somebody on a higher spiritual level sharing with you, you're transitioning into something. You're going to see the things that you're working for, the path at your feet, the direction that you're leading is going to be clear. You're going to start seeing it clearly for yourself. And the Judgment card is really representative of some sort of change or transformation that's on top of you right now. Likely one that's already occurred or that you've been working hard to achieve. You're just starting to see it more clearly with your good judgment right now. And that's where the decision making lies. It doesn't lie in, oh, how do I feel about this? Although there's feelings about everything we do. Gary, this is a card that says right now you are in the midst of making a decision that requires your good reason, your logic, based on things that you have already done to get here. It's like you know it's coming. And what is it? Is it business? Is it familial? Is it interpersonal? This card doesn't say. It just says good judgment is what's needed to bring something to fruition that you've already been working on. And what's very interesting, and again, I don't line up these cards. I just pull them the way they show. The card that is in your recent past is the Eight of Coins. And this is all the energy. Your recent past is what you've been going through, the energy that's brought you to this current card of Judgment. It's kind of plopped you right off here. And this is a card that says if you're involved in any work that requires your creative inspiration, your craftsmanship, the Eight of Coins is a very positive card for you. Now, this is in your recent past. It's doubly true if you're using the skills that you've been working on in your life and that you're still trying to master. It's like me, I'm an illustrator, I'm an artist. Does that mean I stopped trying to develop my talents? No. I've been doing this for 40 plus years. I've been an illustrator since my high school days. And you know what? I'm still working on stuff to perfect my illustration styles and things that I'm doing. So, unlike most of the suit of coins, financial gain isn't necessarily indicated with this card. So this doesn't have to mean you're falling into some kind of financial gain, but the spiritual reward is indicated. Now, let me define what I mean by spiritual. It's not a guarantee. It's rather a suggestion that if you're prudent and you're organized in your attempts, that success at what you're trying to achieve is the outcome. Spiritual is you're putting yourself into something, you're investing your life in something. And you know what? It's bringing you to that Judgment card. It's kind of like the good judgment is now on top of you because the change is ready to be made. The corner is ready to be turned. This is always the card that represented for me. If you look at the guy in the card, he's sitting at his workbench and he's working on his craft, so to speak, the things that he knows how to do. That's metaphorically what the work is, and the square and the compass and all of this that's hanging on the wall. In some of the older decks, there's a window behind him with a castle out there in the background. He's working to attain the castle, the goal, to get where he wants to be. So he's putting in the extra time. It might represent having gone to school, having gone back to the grindstone to put in your time, pay your dues, develop your skills to get to that place out there on the horizon that you want to get to. So this is the card of developing your skills, mastering them, develop your talents, find success in your efforts, invest yourself now, and it leads to greater rewards later. But this isn't the card of now. This is in the position of your recent past. So this was saying in your recent past, investing yourself then, doing the things it takes. The future holds a successful career or a successful spiritual endeavor that you want to get into. And the amount of acclaim that you receive for what you do is going to depend on the amount of time you've spent determining and mastering your skills. And so this is a card that suggests an improvement of skills and studiousness that leads you to something desirable in your life or career. That's your recent past that led you into Judgment. It's now time to make the good decision. It's on top of you. You know what you can do. You know where you can go. I don't know if this card, the Judgment card, indicates you've been made an offer somewhere or you know exactly what you want to do next. You want to launch into starting a business. You want something better on your spiritual walk that you want to improve. All this is saying is that you know already what's going on. You know where you want to go. You've been developing your skills to do this. Now's the time to make this great decision. And the very fun thing about this reading is the 10 of Cups at the end of this. Now you see the 10 of Cups. Cups is that suit of your passions. It can involve romances. It can involve the place where you put your heart. And the 10 of Cups, you see it shows this family. And they're all sitting in the family with the dog. And there's the 10 cups up there and a rainbow over the top. And so this is the card of your near future now. Where these first two cards were leading, now this is the near future. This is this moment forward. This is, it's not a prediction like reading the future. This is where the energy is naturally pushing you of these first two cards. This is where you're going. You can expect to attain something long term, a goal that you've got set. You're going to find the Ten of Cups is something that's telling you you're attaining this. It's like the rest of the cups in the suit of cups. It's imbued with emotional, passionate undertones. It might signal the mending of bridges between friends or family members you were once close to, if there's been a rift of any kind. You might also find that it symbolizes your own inner emotional turmoil being resolved about something. In reference, if it's referencing marriage, it's usually indicative of a lasting emotional bond because it shows husband, wife, children, dog, all sitting under the rainbow with full goblets above your head. And so by taking confidence in your direction in the past and following your deepest convictions, you've been propelled forward. This commitment, your effort, your authority have all allowed room for recognition and success to manifest for you because you've put the time in. You've made the right decisions in your current. And this is what the future holds, where you're going with this. It's like a new undertaking is about to break open for you. This task, this event, this journey is going to bring about long-lasting relationships, friendships, romances, if it applies. Don't miss the opportunity. The opportunity is out there, and the potential for financial success might present itself through some aspect of what you're doing, the things that the property ownership, the thing that you own that you put your nose to. Okay, and that's gonna manifest itself. And there's difficulty. There might be some balancing acts you need to do, but this is what's there. This card represents perfect harmony. It's abundance. It's happiness. It suggests personal family dreams coming true, overall sense of satisfaction, security in life, positive achievements, emotional stability ahead of you. So there you go, Gary. This is what your mini reading has to say. This is just a 3 card that says you've been putting your nose to the grindstone, improving your skills. You're in a current state of knowing the decisions you need to make, the logic and the reason you need to apply, and that's going to lead to getting some fulfillment out of this. There you go. All 3 of those cards. I hope that's meaningful for you. I hope it matches something that's going on and you recognize what this is. It might, many times, a reading like this, a little reading, it's going to require, and any reading is going to require you to look at your life and say, what are the things that are going on? Oh, yeah. Okay. I see that. And so someone is telling you you're in a place of transition right now. So take advantage of it because you put in the good work. There you go. Totally, Gary says. Fantastic, Gary. All right, there you go. Hope that's helpful. All right, next on my list, we got Sue Giles. Sue Giles, how you doing? Let's shuffle up for you right now. Sue Giles, front and center. Heather White. Heather White from Scotland. How you doing, lass? I don't know if they actually use that word over there all the time. And I didn't know if that's what they use. And I cannot say that that's an absolute, but good morning to you. Good to see my friend from Glasgow, Heather White. Coffee. All right, here we go. Sue Giles, giving you time to be front and center. Here we go. Let's shuffle up for Sue Giles. And again, just rearranging the cards. Now, I like to tell people from time to time, I'm a nuts and bolts kind of reader. I don't consider myself this big psychic go-to with lots of intuition and psychic ability or anything, because I believe something else out there governs the shuffle of the cards. I'm just the tool. Scotty Roberts is a tool. I'm just facilitating the reading of the message. Now, where I have any intuition at all, it's knowing people. It's knowing how things work. And sometimes, probably most of the time, I get really good feelings about where the direction of the cards are taking the direction of the reading. And I just blurt. I babble a little bit. So sometimes you have to decipher my babble. But so as I'm shuffling these cards, somebody else is governing this. Something else. is governing this for all of you who get these readings. And I'm just reading the message to you. All right. Here we go. All right, Sue Giles, we're all shuffled up for you. You ready? I don't see you out there. So if you're there, just pop in and go, I'm here. I'm listening. So here we go. So Sue, now shut up, Audrey. All right. Sue, if you were here, I'd have you cut the deck. And so I'm going to do that for you. And all I do, folks, is I just cut here. I don't know if you can see this. I lay this all out right here on my desk. And when I cut the cards, I just lay them out in piles and I put them all back together. And when you see me struggling with it, sometimes a card pops out. I put it on top. Boom, boom, boom. There, I've cut the deck. And there, that's all ready to go. Let me get my camera back up. There you go. So that's what I do when I cut the deck, in case you're not seeing it or understanding what I'm doing. All right, here we go, Sue. Love you too, Audrey. All right, Sue, if you're there, your first card, your current situation, you got the 9 of coins. It's the card that comes in the suit of coins before that 10 of coins we just, oh no, wait, that was cups. Never mind. So it's pretty high up in the suit of coins. Material well-being and so on. You've got the 10 of wands in your recent past. And in your near future, you've got the hermit. All right. The hermit. All right. Let's read these. The 9 of coins is not a bad card to start with at all. I mean, it's actually fairly decent. It's one that's speaking to your material well-being. It's those material things that you need to look to that are going on in your life. And the 9, it shows this beautiful woman dressed in her finery, sitting in a beautiful garden. The hawk, the hooded hawk, is on her arm. Music is indicated in the background. And it represents significant financial reward. But it's financial reward that comes as a result of hard work, careful planning on your part. Just a reward for prudent actions. It also indicates that it's time, there might be a time of hardship for you that's ending, and a counterbalancing time of pleasant living is at hand. On a less positive note, it also indicates this solitary individual. So you may still be searching for companionship, lack of people to whom to share your gains. Now, this doesn't mean you're not attached to somebody. This just pops into my mind, so I'm going to say it. I don't know what your situation is, Sue, but even everybody, when I'm talking about this, when you're attached to somebody, married to somebody, you've got to, sadly, that doesn't always mean that those are the people who you are intimately involved with, meaning that there's good companionship there. You might still be searching for that. You could be in a marriage and entrenched in a marriage for many years and lack intimacy and lack partnership and lack companionship. So this might speak to that a little bit. I'm not saying, Sue, that this is your case. I'm just saying, in describing what the card means, it can apply to married people. It can apply to single people. It can apply to people who don't have the companionship that they crave. And so the pleasure that you've experienced was earned by your achievements through the rewards of maybe recent projects aren't really obvious to you yet. You're going to receive abundantly from the work that you put in. And coins is definitely the suit of financial success, financial things, material things, but it doesn't always mean that it has to do with getting lots of money or anything like that. This is work you've done being recognized. The solution you're seeking is going to arrive. It's going to relieve you of the stress associated with maybe some of the problems that are on your plate right now. But there's new challenges that are waiting for you to dispel your feelings of dissatisfaction. You know, we can be in this place where we're on top of the world financially, or we're where we need to be. We feel good about that, but we're wholly dissatisfied because we might be trying to plug up gaps in our life with other things. And so the void that you are probably experiencing deep down isn't going to be remedied by the challenges, but the rewards are going to help keep you content. It will help you be content. And so the 9 of coins, it stands for wealth. It stands for financial security. It could mean finally being rewarded for all your efforts in business or important projects that you invest yourself in. The presence of this card could mean financial independence for you. Now, there's also one aspect. You may have heard me mention this before if you've seen any number of readings I've done online here. The woman's sitting in a beautiful garden. She's in her finery. Things are good. Things are good financially. But also, living in a walled garden can also be a prison of its own. This could indicate that you're going to break down some of those walls and find out what are the things that truly mean something to you. What are the things that are going to take you where you want to be? And so you got to keep your eyes open for that and see where you're going with this, because your recent past, this is the card of your recent past, Sue. It's the 10 of Wands, and you see a woman here. She's holding a bundle of sticks. And any of you, again, who've seen some of these readings I've done over the past months, know that this card says you're likely working too hard. You're taking on much more than you need to take on. You've overburdened yourself, and it can be excessive workloads in pursuit of your goals, excessive time that you're committing when your time could be better spent somewhere else. And as a result of attaining your goals, you're realizing that you've lost something along the way. And this is a card that says you're overburdened. You're carrying this big bundle, this big massive burdens or baggage even. And the strength that you've developed over the years of struggle, the years of trying to put yourself out there to get what you need, is going to lead to the solution of current problems. But the negativity you have recently let go of is going to be the thing that allows you to form a new philosophy. So now this is in the recent past, this overburden. If you let go of the things that you've been, the baggage you've been carrying, you can open yourself up to other things. This is a card of bearing down, seeing the challenge through to the end. If you've been disconnected from someone, expect an opportunity to reconnect. Focus your energy in one direction. Consolidate your efforts. Success will be easier to achieve, but only if you divest yourself of the load, the overburdensome load. This is a card, Susan, that says in your recent past, which, by the way, is the energy that's led you all the way up to this present moment and putting you in that walled garden where things can get better. That 9 of Coins card in your current. This is a card that says your life has been one that it's overburdened by the things that you're trying to do to get yourself to what you think is the goal. And the hidden message of the card is you're not going to make that goal if you keep trying to drag this baggage and these burdens along that path and up that hill to the castle on the hill, the goal. And you might have to get rid of some of that. You might have to say, you know what? All this baggage around my feet that I'm trying to haul up the hill, I got to leave it here. I got to divest myself. I got to let go. And so you're overburdened. You've been overburdened. Now, the message is you're not going to make it to your goal by remaining overburdened. So you have to do something positively in your current. You're in that pleasant garden. You're getting financial reward, or at least the nuts and bolts of life. The material aspects of your life are okay. But you're in a walled garden. That walled garden, I would say the walls are built out of your baggage. out of the stuff that's the stuff you've been dragging along. It's time to kick those walls down, time to lighten that load so you can free yourself to make the goal you want to be in. And all of this is leading you into the card of the Hermit. Now, this is a card that says it's not a card of success. It's not a card of financial reward or anything like that. The Hermit card is the card that's telling you that it's time to separate yourself a bit from the things around you, the trappings of life, the people around you. There are times in everybody's life when you have to step back. You have to step back and make a careful examination of your situations, of your decisions. So when you see the Hermit card comes up in your spread, this is just a time for you to take stock of where you've been, what's around you, where you're going. You're in need. This is a card of it's appearing in your near future. This is the direction you're going. Sue, you are in need right now of a period of inner reflection. You have to get away from the current demands of whatever your position is. It's a retreat that can be physical. You remove yourself from everything around you for a while. Take a little vacation. Take a sabbatical if you're in a position to do that. Head to the woods for the weekend. That's the idea. And it's something where you have to search within. Only a deep and honest introspection is going to lead you to the solutions of what you see as the things that need solutions in your life. This carrying this heavy load, being walled up in your own personal garden of great satisfaction on one hand, but still isolated on the other. The pace of your past has slowed you down. And it's time to accept this. Continue looking for your final goals and consider the insight you've already gained. Now, you're being told today to lighten your load, to lighten your burdens, to let go of baggage, to break down some walls, because even a beautiful garden that's walled can be a prison. And so there's somebody out there that can help you through your problems. Insight of others might help you. It's you becoming aware of your true road. And there's going to be nothing that stands in your way. Life has challenged you, but you're prepared to make the best of your future. And you can do that by lightening your burden, letting go of the things that... There was an old Bible verse that came to mind that said something about let go of the things that so easily beset you and head toward the goal. So it's solitary introspection, contemplation. Maybe, I know it sounds trite in a day and age of new ageism and so on, but have you set aside time for yourself, Susan? Do you meditate? Hard thing to do if you don't do it on a regular basis. Take some time, take 10 minutes a day, set yourself apart. I don't know what your life looks like. If you have a spouse, if you have a significant other, if you have kids running around, whatever it might be, this is something that says find the time, make the time, because you need the time to let go of the burdens. Do some soul searching, reflection. Reflect where you've been and where you want to go and how you're going to get there. And this is a very positive card. It's the Hermit, who it's like the lantern of Diogenes, who's looking for truth. He's holding that lantern up and illuminating his way. So this is what you've got to do. So hopefully that makes sense for you, Sue. I don't know if you're out there. I'm looking at the chat room. I don't see you necessarily in here. I'm going to scroll back and see if you were there to pick that up. So Sue, if you got that, I hope that works for you. I hope it's meaningful and means something. So Gary said the Hermit cards appear here at 11:11 a.m. Look at that. So there you go. Hey, Roger Rabbit, good morning to you. I see you over there. And so there you go. Oh, there's Sue Giles. There you are. I hope that was meaningful. I hope it means something to you. Go back and listen to it again later. And there you are. All right, Karen. Karen, front and center. We're going to do your 3-card reading here now. Karen, I don't know if there's more than one Karen in the chat room, but if you're there, come forward. I feel like the Wizard of Oz. Remember that when they're all in front of the big green flaming head? And you, Tin Man, step forward. You clinking, clanking, clattering collection of colliginous junk. You ever feel that way when you're next in line? Oh, sorry. All right. So let's see. Only one, says Leslie. All right, good. Let me take a swig. Let's see. All right. Here we go. Karen, I'm going to shuffle up for you 3 times. All right. It's just rearranging the cards is all we're doing. So, not the way I want them arranged. I'm just shuffling. So, Karen, this is for you. Give you a general look at what's going on today. And if you were here, I would cut this deck just the way I kind of showed a little earlier. And we'll break up this thing a little bit here. Boom. All back and stacked up. All right, let's pull your 3 cards, Karen. Here we go. All right. Karen, there you are, front and center. Good to see you. Karen Steele. All right, steel yourself for this reading. Your first card, this is the card of your current situation, is the Chariot. Card of your recent past is the 10 of coins. This comes right after the 9 of coins from our last reading. You get an idea where the progression is heading in the coins. And the Prince of Cups is your near future. All right. Now, let's look at this. The Chariot. I've always said of this card that it's more, I would call this the card of the chariot driver as opposed to the physical chariot itself. And the Chariot, you have some hard work ahead of you. This is your current. This is what's going on. This is where you are right now. You got hard work ahead. Now, that's vague. That's general. We all have hard work to do, don't we? But this is saying in your current, you have hard work. It might be something that you can resolve quickly. The Chariot is a very powerful card. And whatever you're undertaking, the labor you're undertaking, whatever you're doing is probably going to trend toward being a little longer and a little more difficult than you'd like it to be. This is a reminder in your current, you're in the thick of something, and you're going to quite possibly experience some rough roads along the way. It's like long uphill slopes, dead ends, painful setbacks. How's that for a beautiful reading for Sunday morning? This is your current setbacks, long stretches of bumpy road. But a good outcome to whatever journey you're on with this right now is only assured if you look at it with a positive light and realize that even the bumps in the road, there's something we all experience. The hard road's going to instill in you a strength of purpose, endurance, how to avoid the next pothole, and the confidence possessed only by those who have done what they thought they could not do. And it's a harnessed ability to see, to learn from the bumps in the road and move on and avoid the new bumps in the road. And few forces can stand against anybody who's achieved this and come to this position. Now, your character, according to this card, this is indicating your character's been tested by the tendency to protect your own interests, your own ego, and don't let ego go, oh, I'm not egotistical, I'm not narcissistic. Yeah, you know what? We all are. So don't let that bother you. We all have narcissism to a certain extent. We all have egos to a certain extent, and that's a good thing. That's how we take care of ourselves and do the things that we need to do. And so the struggle has strengthened you. Recent events have given you a chance to accomplish what you're out to accomplish. And so the good news is coming with this card, and you'll better the opposition in a decisive victory. You're going to win over the things that oppose you decisively if you stick to your guns. And so continue your struggle, and the end you seek is going to be achieved. Keep on that bumpy road. You know it's going to come to an end. You're going to get where you're going is the idea. So honor, acclaim, recognition, possible outcomes are all there if you don't quit. And so the Chariot reveals that you're in some sort of journey right now. And it's got a positive connotation that the journey will most likely be a progression of some sort. There's a final success at the end of it, but the confidence, the direction, the victory comes through what you achieve as the Chariot driver. And something I always said attached to this card is that as the Chariot driver, you are the one, no matter the course that you're trotting, that you're traversing, you're the one who holds the reins. You're the one who guides the horses where you want them to go. And your ability to lead the horse to water, use your diplomacy to make it drink, whether it knows it needs a drink or not, that you have this ability and this strength to do this. You're the one who guides this. So while it's a card that's recognizing the long bumpy road ahead of you, it's a card that's also recognizing your strength as the driver to get where you want to be and to achieve and get out of that what you need to get out of it. It's like the being on the road, that road that leads you to making the right decisions in the future, that leads you to experiencing the bumps so you know how to look for them next time, how to avoid them, and so on. So that's your current. Now, I don't know that necessarily looks like a beautiful place to be for you. I, for one, look at that and say, you know what? That is kind of a beautiful place to be, because we all have difficulties getting to where we want to get. We all have stuff strewn in the path. And this is just saying you have the strength to traverse that and get to where you want to be despite that. And it's based on your recent past, which is the 10 of coins. This is a card like the 9 of coins was. It involves financial security, emotional well-being. These things are positively indicated by the presence of this card in your spread, and it's the card of your recent past. This is partially your own doing that's brought you to this having this financial security, so to speak, or this material well-being. It's bound up in your close relationships with friends and family. It can foretell inheritance, but remember, inheritance is always something that comes with death, meaning you might have some great gains that you've experienced in your past, but attached to those great gains are the pains of what it takes to get there. And so you've been prosperous, you've established a secure base by your ability to, perhaps it's your ability to just spend your money wisely, to manage your money well. You're going to receive a reward that's partially due to your efforts, but due to your position within your family. Carefully evaluate your own merits accordingly. This card represents an unexpected solution to financial problems. The projects and the ideas you're currently working on will be of benefit to you and future generations. So this card indicates in your recent past some stability, some prosperity, overall good fortune. Prosperity doesn't necessarily mean wealth, wild, unmanageable wealth. It means prosperity. It means things have fallen in line. Things have been good for you. And this could all be due to having positive business relationships, personal relationships, tight-knit family as your foundation, inheritance, discovery, treasure, could all be things that are in your near future. It could be something that's happened in your current. I don't know, but that's not necessarily so, because sometimes we bring our own inheritance, we bring our own treasure, we bring our own prosperity. So this is all about a discovery of where you need to be and the things that better you. And it's been in your recent past and plopped you off into the chariot, which is you're still on a long road to achieving the goal you want to achieve. But now you've got some vision, you've got some clarity. Incorporate your ability to be, what's the word I'm looking for? To negotiate, I'm thinking of an ambassador, but not ambassadorship. That ability to use your ability to negotiate situations. I can't think of the word that I wanted to have for that, but I may have mentioned it earlier. Now it's slipping my mind. But you're in a good position to negotiate the troubles that are on the road, and you turn those troubles into learning better. And all of this is leading you to the Page of Cups. Now, the Page of Cups. Now, this is pages were always the deliverers of missives for the king and all of that kind of thing. And it refers to you in the spread. It suggests an introspective nature, inclined toward art, possessing a kind heart. You may let the credit that you deserve pass you by. Maybe out of shyness of putting yourself forward. So you've got to incorporate a bit of that narcissistic ego and say, yeah, that's me. I'm the one doing the good things. And the card may also be indicative of someone likely overlooked. And the page is generally the bearer of good news. There's good things coming. There's this little silver trout that's in the goblet. It's like Yeats said in his poem, and this is what's been coming to mind, is he talks about the Song of Wandering Angus. Look that up, by William Butler Yeats. And he says something about, I don't remember exactly how the poem starts, but he says, I went to the wildwood because a fire was in my head. And he talks about hooking a berry to a thread and dropping it in the stream. And there he caught a little silver trout. And when he had put the trout on the ground and went to tend the fire, and I'm not remembering the poem exactly, he says, it came to life, and there stood a glittering girl who faded in the waning light, and that he's searching for her his whole life. This wisdom. And so this little silver trout, the trout were symbols in Celtic lore of delivering messages of good things. So this is the idea that you've already had that can be developed further for greater results. Your awareness comes into great play here in your near future. Overcoming the obstacles that lead you to an understanding of the best way to continue to get around the obstacles. So it's good news is reaching you. It's reminding you of the importance of a fresh outlook. See the humor in life. Remember the healing power of laughter. And if you can hear the screams in the background, it's just my children playing. Nobody's being massacred outside my door. So be prepared for upcoming opportunity. It'll pass you by too easily, Karen, if you're not ready to seize it for yourself. So the emotional struggles you pass through are going to teach you how to love more deeply and more intimately. So Page of Cups speaks to a gentle, artistic, dreamer-type messenger. He brings with him the announcements of good news, messages of new, serene beginnings. All dealing with this card are a positive nature, and it's a very positive card. So while you've experienced some prosperity in the past, you're coming to the rough road that lays ahead. It's going to be long. It's going to be tedious. You're going to learn lessons from it, but it's leading you to this place where there's good news coming. And it's all a positive answer because you're going to see things start to change in your favor. All right. You're going to get off that rough road. Diplomacy was the word I was looking for before. Be the diplomat with the chariot driver. So there you go. Hopefully that makes sense to you. And it applies to your situation. So there you go. All right, folks. Now 10:30. We've been going about an hour and a half. And I'm gonna call it quits there for today on readings. I generally like to do a few more, but I wanna break it down there. And so I want to thank you for being here. I got nothing much else to say today. I hope that this was meaningful for you all. Jessica McCreary wants a reading. Jessica, if you're still in the room, let us know and I'll do a reading for you. But then I'll have to be done. So if not, we'll catch you next time. The one on my index finger, this one, Leslie. Yeah, here you go. The camera doesn't like to really get up close on this, but that's the one with the two dragon heads. Let's see if I can point them out to you here. I don't know if you can see the detail on this, but so there you go. It's got a dragon head there. You see his eyes, and one over on this side. You see his eyes. And the bodies of the dragon are all wrapped around the entire ring. And then there's the semi-precious emerald type stone in the middle. I've had this since had this ring on that finger for about 18 years. So given to me by friends. So there you go. Well, thank you, Leslie. It's a cool ring. Yeah, I like it. And it was given to me by friends. So I've always kept that on that hand. That's been on that hand since 2003. So 17, 18 years. And so there you go. All right, folks. That's all I got for today. And whoever was looking for a reading and I'm not here, she's not here. We'll catch you next time. Try to come in here next Sunday and we'll get you. Or if you guys want to get a reading, cost you money if you come to me during the week. But go on over to my website. You can click on the Tarot link there and you'll see a couple of links to get yourself a reading and we'll line one up. Talk to people in here who've had one and you get the idea. So let's see. What did Gary just ask me here? I don't see it. Something weird came up and I'm not sure what it was. Oh, there it is. Scotty, has that puppy ever met the job of a dumbass fool? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. If you mean my ring, I don't know. So everybody, have a great day. Joyce, good to see you down at the bottom. You just popped in. I don't know if you've been here the whole time, but you just threw in a thumbs up. Good to see you. Everybody, good to have you here. Glad you were here. And we'll see you tomorrow night, 5 nights a week, 9 p.m. Central Standard, 10 p.m. Eastern. And my show, the Intrepid Radio Program, appears on Odyssey Radio Network and also right here in simulcast on my YouTube stream. And so that's all I know. Yeah, Gary says he wouldn't mess with my Scotty rings. There you go. If I have to use fisticuffs, I generally take them off, though. So, and that's rare. I don't want to give the impression I get into lots of fights. I don't. So, all right, everybody, you have a good Sunday. Good rest of your day. And I will see you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time for the Intrepid Radio Program. We'll see you later. Have a fun day. Have fun with your family. and get out there and enjoy life. See you later.